Today, we're going to talk about the power habits that you can incorporate in your life to make yourself the success you want to be, no matter what you do, no matter what you are, no matter what your circumstances in life. Hang with me just a minute. We'll get to it in just a second. We're going to wait for a couple more people to climb on board. Hang in there. We're going to talk about power habits in just a minute. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. We'll be there in just a minute. We're going to talk about power habits and things you can do that will actually help you accomplish your goals in life. Hang in there. I'll be there in a minute. Hello, Quebec. Hello, Utah. Hello, New Jersey. Hello, Colorado. Hello, California. Hello, New Hampshire. Hello, Egypt. All right. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to talk about some things that can impact your life, your habits. Good morning, Wyoming and New Hampshire and Arkansas and Canada, where Canada's a big place. Newport News, Virginia, Central New York, Roanoke, Virginia, Salem. All right, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to get right to this in just a second. Today's a good one. This is one that you're going to want to share. I think you're going to want to share it. I hope you're going to want to share it. Sun City West. All right, Sharon. Thank you. Illinois. All right, here we go. We're going to get rolling here. Hi, everybody. I'm Eric Rhoads, publisher of Fine Art Connoisseur and Plein Air Magazine. Today is day number, what day is this anyway? Today is day number 124 live. We have been doing this 124 days in a row, every day at 12 noon. If this is your first time, the reason I do this is because we're all engulfed in coronavirus and protest fears and everything that's going on in the world. And I'm trying to do something to help you keep your head in place, in the right place, not in the wrong place. And the way I'm doing that is talking to you every day, trying to teach you something of value every day, and also giving you art instruction samples for those of you who want to learn art or might be interested in art or already are artists. Every day at 3 p.m. I give you art instruction samples and have done so for 124 days. And that's no weekends off, baby. I'm here for you. Now, yesterday, I said something, and boy, did it cause a ruckus. So I probably should talk about that because I don't want to send the wrong impression. Somebody sent me a note, a very lovely lady sent me a nice note this morning, and she said, yesterday, you kind of indicated that you weren't going to keep doing this and that you were getting tired of it and that you were a little burned out and we don't want you to go. So let's talk about that because I think that's important. First off, I love doing this. This is fun for me. I love to help people. I love to communicate with people. I love to feel that sense of our community. And so that is really awesome. I have a full-time job, right? I publish several magazines. I publish Fine Art Connoisseur, Plein Air Magazine, Fine Art Today, Plein Air Today, American Watercolor, Realism Today, plus Radio Inc., radioinc.com, a radio and television business report, plus multiple conferences, books, instruction videos, etc. I'm a busy guy. I got a lot going on, and I do all of that to help people. I'm in two industries. I started out as a little bitty broadcaster at age 14 in the radio industry, and I have stuck with that my entire career. But I discovered art 25 years ago and started in the art industry then. And so today I'm kind of juggling a lot of different balls, and I'm happy. I love doing it. There's nothing I'd rather be doing. If there was something I'd rather be doing, I would be doing that. And one of the things I want to do is to be here for you guys every day. So what does that look like? Well, the big issue is some days I'll spend 2 or 3 hours in preparation for what I'm going to talk about. And I'm always thinking about it. At night, I'm thinking about it. I'm looking for ideas. I'm trying to think about what you guys need And so, it's constant. And on the weekends, rather than going out in the mornings and enjoying the weekends, I'm here doing this for you. And then I start my weekend after 1 o'clock when we're done, or 12:30 whenever we're done. So I'm trying to figure out, how can I continue this and still be able to get back those 2 or 3 important hours in my life every day. You think about 124 days times 2 or 3 hours, a lot of hours. And so I'm thinking about maybe asking for some volunteers to help me with preparation, some ideas that can maybe ease the load a little bit. And so, because I want to keep this going, quite frankly, I like doing it, and I don't really want to pre-record them, because pre-recording doesn't have the energy. I like the energy I get from watching your comments and seeing where you guys are from. I love the comments. I love the fact that we're giving away prizes for comments. And so really want to continue to do them live when possible. So anyway, we got to find a solution eventually, especially if this stuff continues for who knows how long. We don't know. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about power habits and the habits that you may want to consider. I never try to should on anybody. I don't want to say you should do this. I want you to say, maybe I should consider this. Maybe I will consider this. Maybe I won't. And by the way, no matter what stage you are in life, I saw somebody that commented from Sun City, which is a retirement community. No matter what stage you are in life, there's still time to do the things you want to do. The key is never giving up. I'll talk a little bit more about that today. So yeah, Joanne says maybe once a week. Well, maybe once a week would do it. But I think the idea of being there for you every day at 12 noon is the thing. So anyway, today I will go through a couple things, a little homework before we go into the specifics of how you can get your power habits going on. First off, today's prizes for comments is I'm going to give away a copy of my book, Make More Money Selling Your Art, Amazon #1 bestseller, and probably now the #1 best-selling art marketing book in history. And I'm not trying to brag. I'm just very proud of it. And we have helped literally tens of thousands of people with marketing and helping them. My goal in life is to get rid of the idea of the starving artist. That's a fallacy. Everybody says you cannot make a living. I can't tell you how many artists have told me. My parents told me I shouldn't go into art because they'll never make a living. And the reality is that a lot of people don't make a living, but a lot of people do. And a lot of people make the living that they desire, that they want. They're living their dreams. And the difference between those who are successful and those who are not are the ones who take action towards their success. They step forward towards their success. A woman wrote me this morning, same woman who wrote me about the other thing, and she told me a story about how she has not been stepping out. She's been intimidated, and that by watching this every single day, she got the courage to step out and talk to a couple of galleries about carrying her work. She said she's shy. She typically doesn't like to just step out and talk to people she doesn't know. And she stepped out, and now she's got a gallery who's decided they're going to evaluate whether or not she's going to be in the gallery. I love that. I love the stories of people who find the courage within themselves. None of us have it naturally. It's very rare. Most people who appear to have it are deep down, we're all just little kids inside, right? And so what we want to do is look for ways that we can develop muscles in the areas where we have weaknesses. We can all overcome our weaknesses. I say this to my kids all the time. They're always like, well, we don't have this, or we don't have that, or I don't have this ability, or I don't understand this. We can overcome it all. I didn't go to college. I sometimes wished I did, but now I run a successful business 5 years in a row on the Inc. List of the 5,000 fastest growing companies. Didn't make it this year. I'm guessing coronavirus kind of killed it. Everything has gone backwards. But hey, you know what? We have to embrace the failures as well. So anyway, today you make your comments. If you're from outside of the country, make sure you say where you're from. We like to see where you're from anyway. Today at 3 p.m., the daily video I'm giving you is going to appear on Facebook or on YouTube at Streamline Art Videos. So the way to find it is go to YouTube, search Streamline Art Video. When you find the page, hit the subscribe button. I've tried to drive that up anyway, and then that way they'll come to you automatically. You can also go to Facebook. I don't do it on my Facebook page. You might be seeing it on some of my Facebook pages, but not my personal one, but you might see it on some of the company Facebook pages. So, and you search for it. So look for Streamline Art Video, and that's at 3 o'clock every day. Today is a classic because Johnny Lillidahl founded the very first video instruction business in the art world. And she did this video. It's called Drawing One for Painters. It's a landscape video, and it teaches you about the drawing for landscapes. And Johnny founded the very first company doing art instruction video well over 35 years ago. And when she passed away, sadly, about a year later, her husband, Ralph, approached me and he said, I like what you're doing. I like your ethics. I like the way you do business. I need to move on in my life. I can't keep this going on my own. Johnny was the muse, and would you be willing to take it on? And so we took it on, and so we have now built the company back to its original strength. Probably now a little bigger than it ever was, and we're still sending checks to Ralph, and so it's a beautiful thing. We're trying to help them. We're trying to help you, and this is the way we do it. So Johnny Lillidahl, you don't see much of her anymore because she's not around anymore, but we're trying to keep her memory alive, and she had a lot of great spirit to teach. And so you want to check out this one today, Drawing One for Painters. It's a classic. Now, keep in mind, this was filmed a while back, so the technology isn't as good, but the content is just as good. So keep that in mind. All right, so what else have I got today? We have some winners. The winner of yesterday's announcement, the easel brush clip. Do I have one? Yes. This is an easel brush clip. This clips on to your easel, your studio easel, or your plein air easel. I have typically one on my studio easel and one on my plein air easel, sometimes two on my studio easel. And because I live in two different places, I have lots of them, and I need more. They're really great. And so anyway, she's going to win that. I just got a note from somebody, even Australia won one, and so it's a long trip over there, but we mail them anywhere. So Sue Fortney in Nebraska, you're getting an easel brush clip. And Brian Coker, you're getting value specs, which are red glasses, specially formulated red lenses. We went through about 30 iterations with the manufacturer till we got them right. And they help you see the values properly. So when you put them on, you can see the darks and lights and how they should appear in your painting. And I wear them when I do an underpainting, if I'm doing an underpainting. And then when I get my painting pretty far along and blocked in, I put them on and I realize my values are a little off, and then I adjust the values with them on. And so they're very helpful. So those are going to Brian Coker in Alabama. So congrats to you folks. You guys who are on the comments, make sure you give people congrats and thumbs up and hearts and all of that stuff. That'll be very helpful. Now, what I want to do today is talk about power habits. The reason I wanted to do this is because I get the question all the time. I get questions. Yesterday, I was looking through the comments, and the questions were things like, how do you get so much done? What is your process? What do you do every day? So I thought, well, I don't know that I'm the perfect example, but maybe I can give you some ideas and some power habits that you should consider. These are some of the things that I do. These are some of the things that I try and do. Now, I don't do everything every day. I will tell you that. I would be a hypocrite if I said I did. But anyway, these are some power habits. This, by the way, applies to everybody, not just artists. And so I would really encourage you to put a share, click the share button. Go ahead and share it right now so some people can see it live. Others, share it later if you think it's of value. But I really have reached into my soul and talked about some of the habits and some of the beliefs. I talk about these beliefs on my blog, Sunday Coffee. It comes out every Sunday morning, and you can find it at coffeewitheric.com. All right. So first off, we have to understand that we're living in frightening times. And people say to me, Eric, How can you be so upbeat? How can you be here every day? When we're facing, all these things like COVID, and we're facing the, riots and so on. They're frightening times. And the answer to that is, I am not going to let anyone else or any activities define who I am. And I don't think anyone should allow that to define who they are. I'm not saying we should ignore any of it, but we also have to make sure that we're not letting it define us. So the way you process information determines the way you feel every single day. And there's so much research about it. It's true with couples. It's the way you process the information that your husband or wife gives you. You can choose to process things negatively or positively. And we have what we call reptilian brains. The reptilian brain is the brain that was developed during the time when we were first formulated, right? When man was brought into being. And the idea is that the reptilian brain was designed to protect us. So our natural instinct is to think negatively. Our natural instinct is to think there's a tiger around the corner who's going to pounce on us. And so we're always ready. And so we know that our natural instincts are negativity, but that negativity isn't serving us well. If we want our lives to really rock, to really be terrific, we need to surround ourselves with a way of processing information through a positive filter and instead of a negative filter. Emotion is created by motion. Tony Robbins says that. Now, what that means is the motions of your face, the motions of your body, the way your posture is, the way you hang your head, these create your emotions, your negative emotions and your positive emotions, and they reinforce them. You have 80 muscles in your face, and all these muscles, if you're into doom and gloom and negativity, your muscles are going to show it, your face is going to show it. And so you want to use your face. First off, this sounds silly, but use your way. If you use your face in the same way every day, you're going to get the same results. That's why you're going to see some of the crazy things that I do. And nobody ever talks about this stuff. And it's just because nobody talks about it, because it's silly. But if you repeat the same facial expressions and the same dour look all the time, you can walk down the road, see somebody walking towards you, and even if you don't know them, you can tell this person is emotionally disturbed, or they're negative, or they're bothered, or they're angry, or they're in grief, or there's something going on. We all face all of those things. I just lost my mother a year ago. It was awful. It was probably the worst thing to ever happen in my life. But I made up my mind before I went into that funeral how I was going to process the information. I went in there and looked at this as a celebration of her life and her being in a better place, and processed it differently. Yes, I was grief-stricken. Yes, I cried, but I had more control over my emotions rather than my emotions controlling me. And so you want to try and figure out, how can you control that? So I think, first off, your routines are really important. We all have routines. And I was thinking about it one day. I was in the shower and I realized I shower the exact same pattern every day. I start here, I go over here, I just, I have the same pattern. And I tried to break the pattern, and I almost felt like I was doing something wrong. Instead of washing this arm first, I decided to wash this arm first. Instead of using my right hand, I decided to use my left hand, and try to shake things up. It's really good for your brain. They say that going on rides at an amusement park is really good for your brain, because it takes you out of your comfort zone, and it helps your brain actually expand, and the neurons fire in new ways, and it helps you. So think about your routine right now. What is your routine? What do you do the first thing you do when you get up? Everybody got an image? I know what a lot of you are doing. A lot of you are getting out of bed, picking up your phone, and immediately looking at social media. Social media gives us dopamine, right? We feel good. We can feel bad too, but it gives us dopamine. And so one thing that I want you to do, and I didn't put this in the slides, but one thing I want you to do is give yourself at least a half an hour before you pick up your phone and look at it. I know it's tough because, you're busy, you got things going on, you want to feel important, you want to feel like you're part of things, but give yourself some time because your brain waves are actually going through different levels of activity as you're waking up, and you don't want to hit your brain with that negative information. And quite frankly, social media is negative. So let's start out by talking about routines. This is what I call my morning jump start. It's like the batteries are charging me up because, like you, I wake up with moments when some mornings I just feel like badly. Some mornings I don't sleep well, or some nights I don't sleep well. So here's some things. The first thing I do in the morning, I wake up. The first thing I do is I run and I squeeze a fresh lemon into a giant 8-ounce glass of water. There's 2 reasons I do that. They have found that the very first thing in the morning you need is a lot of water. It restarts your system. It flushes out toxins from the night, but also the lemon helps change the alkaline levels in your body, and that helps prevent disease. And you want that before you consume anything else. So the very first thing, I don't drink coffee first thing. As a matter of fact, I am drinking less and less coffee now. I didn't even have coffee today. So I start with a giant glass of lemon water, fresh squeezed. All right. Try to take 10 to 15 minutes for yourself, doing something that you love for yourself before you do anything else. If you can't find 10 to 15 minutes for yourself in your day, there's something wrong. Now, you may have to get up earlier to find 10 or 15 minutes, but find time before yourself, because if you're just rushing to the alarm, you're rushing to get ready for work, you're rush, you're not taking time for yourselves. You need to be able to enjoy your time. Now, what I do and what really works beautifully is I turn on music. I go in the bathroom and I crank up the music. I've got one of those little nice speakers that ties into my phone, and I have a playlist of upbeat music, and so I have different ones, and so I just pick one and I play it, and I'm dancing around the bathroom, and it immediately lifts my spirits, lifts my mood. I love to listen to stuff from my youth and my childhood, but I love to listen to new contemporary things too. Some days are classical music days, but whatever they are, they lift my spirit and they really help me. And the other thing is it keeps my body moving. You got to have body movement. You got to get your heart pumping. You got to get your muscles moving. You got to do stretches. You got to get some movement in your body. And you need that before you start your day. The next thing is, this is crazy, but I make silly faces in the mirror. I do. I know, seems crazy. I got to get a big grin. When you force your muscles up and you get a big grin, you can't help but feel good. Try it right now. Do it with me. I know you're going to feel silly, but get a big grin on your face, just a big smile, and just hold it. See how you can actually feel the chemicals releasing in your body. When those muscles go up, you're actually triggering the release. This is something that people don't understand, so it'll help you feel better. Make some silly faces, have some fun. The other thing is in the morning, I ask myself, what are 3 things that I'm grateful for today? Hang on. 3 things I'm grateful for today. And sometimes it's the first thing I usually do in the morning. I just said, thank you, Lord, for bringing me into this day. I get another day. I get another chance. So I'm grateful for the day. I'm grateful for my family. Excuse me. So look, I'm grateful for when I don't have to cough. Look for 3 things where you can have gratitude. When you're grateful, you can't be angry or fearful. When you have gratitude in your life and you're just constantly thankful for the things that are going on in your life, it's hard to let these other things bother you. They upset you. They bother you emotionally, though you can get through this because you're more grateful. Now, we wire ourselves to be unhappy or worried, and so we really naturally have to look for these things to get beyond our natural instincts. Now, I do prayer. I try to do prayer at night. I try to do prayer in the morning. And part of that is my gratitude process. In my prayers, I try to thank God for the things that I'm grateful for and the things that are happening and the opportunities I'm given. I spend time in prayer. I also try, after I get through some of my routine, I try to ask myself, what are the three most important things I'm going to get done today? And I try to envision that they actually are done, right? So what are the three things I'm going to nail? You can't, if you have a laundry list, I've got a list. If you looked at my to-do list, it'd freak you out. But I have a list, and I look at that list every day, and I say, okay, what are the top three things? What are the three things I've got to nail? Now, I am thinking about those three things at night, when I go to bed, because I'm putting them in my subconscious mind because I'm looking for better solutions. And in the morning, I'm thinking about it, not even going to my list. My list is in my office. And so what are those three things that you want to nail today? Now, meditation and quiet time, quiet thought can be prayer. It can be actual meditation. It can just be take a minute or two or 5 minutes and just still yourself. Do that after your exercise, believe it or not, because if you do it before, you'll fall asleep. And I don't meditate every day. I try to meditate. I was trained in meditation when I was 14 or 15 years old. I gave it up for a while. Denise Marcus, who came to Fall Color Week, got me started on it again. I kind of go in and out of doing it. But when I do it, I feel so much better. It just takes the stress away. It melts the stress. And it gives me, quite frankly, lots of ideas, even though you're supposed to push the ideas out, and I do. It loosens up the brain somehow. It's really amazing. So quiet thought sometimes is the same thing. Now, there are lots of apps on iPhones and so on that you can also get, meditation apps. They're very helpful. Exercise or yoga is really important every day. And I am guilty of skipping it, especially during coronavirus time when the virus wasn't going on. I was at the gym every morning. As soon as the kids went off to school, I'm at the gym for an hour. I would do the gym 3 days a week. I do yoga 2 days a week. Up here at the lake, we have yoga on a dock that will start, I think, next week. And so I'll be there every morning at 8:30 to do yoga with them. We're socially distancing, so don't worry about that. And that helps. It loosens up your body, loosens up your mind. It makes you feel better. And of course, we need it for our bodies. Now, here's some other power habits that you may want to consider. Breathing. Breathing, most of us don't know how to breathe. And if you take big, deep breaths, count to three, take a deep breath, 1, 2, 3, in, and hold it, and then slowly push it out. Now, this is part of meditation, but breathing is something we don't do properly. And so getting some breathing, stopping and breathing different parts during your day, intentionally breathing, will make it'll loosen up your diaphragm, make you feel much better. It gives you good oxygen, which makes your brain work better. The other thing I try every day, I ask myself, who can I lift up? Who can I help? I have tried, don't always do it, but I've tried to look for an excuse to pick up the phone and call and compliment somebody for something every single day. Sometimes it's an email if I don't have time to call. Sometimes it's an employee, sometimes it's a friend, but I want to look for something good in everybody. When I'm looking for good things in people, it trains my brain to look for good things. So when I'm looking, if I have a habit of lifting people up, that will help. Get up 2 hours earlier. Everybody always says, Eric, how do you get so much stuff done? Try getting up 2 hours earlier and see what happens. You'll get a lot done. We all think we're so busy. I used to think I was so busy, and somebody said, well, do a 1 week chart of your time, write down everything you do. And I realized I was sleeping in, I was being lazy, I was watching TV, I was spending time on social media. Last night, I sat down, we went to dinner in Lake Placid. I came back, I sat down, and I started doom scrolling. And unbeknownst to me, 3 hours passed, and here I had been the whole time doom scrolling. It sucked me in, and I just allowed it to suck me in, and I wasted three beautiful hours I could have spent, reading or growing or doing something else. And so, getting up earlier is a really beautiful thing. And Elon Musk says that you can accomplish, if you set a 10-year goal, you can accomplish that 10-year goal in 5 years or 3 years just by getting up 2 or 3 hours earlier, adding a couple extra hours to your day. I think that you need to limit your media intake. I don't want to put my head in the sand, but I don't want to sit there. These people in the media, both whether you're conservative or whether you're non-conservative. No matter what your politics are, these people are working you. I worked in the media. I know how it works. And the whole thing is about ratings and getting you enraged and making you want to sit there and watch for hours. And you need to limit your media intake. I try, when I'm up here, I don't have a TV set. It's so wonderful. When I went back to Austin, I turned the TV on for one night. I watched the news for about a half an hour. I thought, this is nonsense. And I turned it off, and I didn't watch it the rest of the week because I didn't want to affect my brain. The other thing is avoid what I did last night. You can spend so much time doom scrolling, and people have become so negative on social media. Now, my rule is don't be negative, avoid negative people at all costs. And so when people are negative, or when they start getting political, even if they're getting political on the things that I happen to believe, I cut them out. I defriend them. I don't want to watch it. And people are like, why'd you defriend me? I said, because you're doing politics. And there's very few exceptions to that. A couple of people I value very, very, very highly that I haven't, but I just try to scroll past all the negativity because I don't want negativity. Quite frankly, the only thing I can change in my life is what I can change. And I can change with my vote, but after that, what else can I do? I guess I could be putting negative stuff on social media, but I don't want to do that. I have a rule. I never talk about things that are polarizing. I typically don't talk about religion. I typically don't talk about money, and I typically don't talk about politics. And quite frankly, I just don't want to do it. There are better things to talk about. This is a real easy one. Avoid self-medication. I love that picture. I have been that picture. There are moments when I just feel like, I could just use a drink, right? And I'll sit down and I'll have a glass of wine, and then I'll have another, and then I'll have another. And the next thing you know, and when I drink, then I doom scroll more, and just makes you depressed and feel badly. I'm not suggesting you can't do that, can't drink, but avoid the idea of self-medication. You have a nice little drink, but don't go overboard. Monitor your words, monitor your language. I constantly am correcting myself, and I'm correcting others. Somebody sent me a really nice note the other day. I had, in one of my things, I used the word try, and I know instinctively not to use that word, but I used it in something, and this woman came and said, you know what? You're giving yourself an excuse when you use the word try. And I don't want to use the word try. I started to say I try not to use the word try. Try is an excuse. Can't is an excuse. There's a lot of words that are negative words. I don't use the words, quote unquote, I'm getting old. I don't even like to say it. I don't say it. I'll say aging, but I don't ever want mentally. I'm not giving up. I'm going to be the longest living person on earth. That's my goal. And however long that is, I'm not going to set any limits. I'm not going to say, it's 80 or 100 or 200 or 500. I'm not setting any limits. I don't want my brain to be trained for that. Is it unrealistic? Maybe, but maybe not. Technology is changing. So I just don't want to give myself negative words. And so I avoid negative words and look for things, monitor your words and be careful. We get into these habits. We use words all the time that are actually implanting thoughts into our subconscious mind. One of the habits that's really important is to dream, to actually sit down and think about your dreams and what you want to do with your life. You've been given this wonderful, wonderful life, and you have so much knowledge and so much experience in so many areas. Why not dream? I sat down one day and I thought, what do I really want to do? What do I want to do more than anything else? And I thought, number one is I want to teach more and more people about painting. I came up with this dream that I want to teach 1 million people to paint. I'm getting close to that goal already. I'm going to have to expand the goal when I reach it. I came up with this idea that I want to do a television show on a national TV network about plein air painting and the plein air movement. And I thought, I'm going to do it. And I've already raised $120,000 towards the 600,000 or 700,000 I need. And I've already got a deal with a major 3-letter network. All right. So you got to dream big. I've got this dream of creating a museum. It's the one big enchilada that I want to make sure that I do. It's a museum of plein air painting and a museum of realism, the two things that I'm really into. And so I have this dream of what the museum looks like and what the space looks like. I can envision it. I've got an event space, a big event space, so I can hold events there. I've got, display space. I can picture what the cafe looks like. And so you've got to picture things in your head, and you just got to keep thinking about those dreams, because if you do, they actually will happen. Now, you have to take action towards dreams, but you got to start with dreaming. And you also have to tell yourself that the impossible is possible. Let me tell you a story real quickly. I started a .com out in San Francisco, and I was interviewing engineers, chief technology officers, and I interviewed 9 people, and all of them said, what you want to do is not physically possible. The physics actually don't work. It cannot be done. And I said, well, certainly we can figure out a way to do it. And they said, no, it cannot be done. The 9th fellow that I interviewed, ninth person I interviewed, said, physically it's not done. It's against the law of physics. I'll figure out a way to do it. So I hired him, and we figured out a way to do it. We got a patent on it. We changed the world of internet audio as a result of it. When you listen to audio online today, it's because of what we came up with that was impossible at the time. You have to believe in the impossible. Look at a guy like Elon Musk. I mean, he's talking about transporting us to Mars. He's putting spaceships up. He came up with the idea of making the electric car a big deal. I mean, he thinks about the impossible, and he's just a man like we're just people, right? And he may be bright, but we're bright too. I know a lot of people who've come up with a lot of things, so you've got to believe in the impossible. The other thing is be public with your goals. I just told you about my national TV show. I told you about teaching 1 million people to paint. I told you about my museum. I'm public with my goals because I now have that accountability. I've told you I'm going to do it. Now I got to do it. And when you have accountability partners, if you tell people what you're going to do, you don't want to be the person, oh, Eric is always saying he's going to do this stuff and then he never does it. No, I learned my lesson. Don't say it until I really have a foundational plan in place, and then put it out there, because now I've got to do it. I got to stand up to it. I told you I'd be here every day at noon while the virus ended. I thought it was going to be 15 days. Here we are into it a lot more days. I'm here because I made a commitment, a public commitment. You need to embrace failure. Failure is there's more direct correlation to success from failure than anything else. Failure leads you to success, rather than saying, oh, it's awful. And you're going to have a couple of days or a couple of months or a couple of years. When I had this company that I built in San Francisco, then the towers got hit. We couldn't raise any more money. My company went bankrupt. I was so devastated. And I thought, oh man, I don't know if I want to go for that again. And I just kind of didn't do anything about it for a while. And then I had to pull myself up out of the ashes and say, you know what? You can do anything. Just this, you learned from this. Think about all the lessons you learned. And I learned so many lessons. Embrace the failure. Now, I'm not going to repeat those same mistakes, hopefully. And that's where failure really works. It's a foundation. Most successful people have been bankrupt 2 times, some of them 3 times. I've never personally been bankrupt, but I bankrupted a company. So that was pretty close. I was 3 weeks away from being bankrupt when my bookkeeper came into me many years ago. He said, Eric, you've got 3 weeks worth of cash left. You're going to be out of business. All your money's gone. And so first off, I went into my office and I cried. Yes, I did. Then I came out and said, okay, let's make a plan. And we made a plan, and we stuck to the plan. We had to make a lot of layoffs. It was an awful day. We had to cut 50 people loose. It was terrible. But if I hadn't done that, we wouldn't have survived, and they wouldn't have had jobs anyway. But we survived. We cut down to 4 people. We ran a 50-person business with 4 people, which everybody said was impossible. We did that for 2 years. And then on the other side of it, when we came out, everything was fixed. All right. So embrace your failures and learn from your mistakes. Also, overcome what holds you back. There are things that are in your DNA, things that are stories you're telling yourself. Some of them are really bad stories. You've had some bad things happen to you. There are things that are telling you why you can't do something, why you shouldn't do something, why I wrote about this in Sunday Coffee this week. I was with a friend of mine, and he was telling me, I asked him about his goals and his dreams, and he said, well, he didn't really have any, because he knew that, he said his family grew up and, it was a blue collar family, and, they just always worked in factory jobs, and he knew that. I said, you're not destined to be anything. You're destined to be what you want to be. You've got to just overcome what you believe. He said, well, people like us don't do things like that. I said, no, you can learn how to do that. And I talked to him about how to learn how to do it. You see, you can overcome anything. There are people who have horrible stories, people who have been homeless, who pulled themselves up out of the ashes and became multimillionaires. It's not about money. It's about doing what you love and making your life successful, whatever you define that to be. You can overcome anything that is holding you back, but there are stories in your head that you've got to overcome. All right. Now, read daily. I try to read every day. My friend Thomas Laurie has trained me on this. He gets up, part of his morning routine, he actually goes to McDonald's, or had a cup of coffee, and would read for an hour every day. And he makes notes and he writes, and then he writes book reviews. And he's one of the top Amazon book reviewers now, but he's getting all this business knowledge because he's reading every day. Bright people write books. Bright people have things to share. Read from them, learn. I opened up my iPad last night, and I was reading a book that was written about 100 years ago by a man named Robert Collier on writing successful letters. Letters meaning, how to sell something in print, because yesterday or the day before I talked about words. So I'm always reading. I'm always trying to grow. Reading daily really makes a difference. I have a book right here. I have the porch out here. Sometimes I'll take 10 or 15 minutes. I'll go out and sit on the porch, get away from business, and just read, because my brain needs a break. All right. Look for an opportunity for daily growth. Maybe it's watching the 3 p.m. art instruction videos. Maybe it's buying a video. Maybe it's taking a course. Maybe it's doing something. Look for daily growth. And also seek generosity. Dave Ramsey, I couldn't think of it for a second. Dave Ramsey, the radio host, I went to one of his courses. It was called EntreLeadership. I said to myself, I don't need this course. I've been in business for 30 years. I don't need it. My wife says, you need it. So I said, okay, well, I'll go. And I needed it. And I learned things and I embraced new things. I wish I had gone years earlier. Anyway, the one thing that really triggered something in me, I had kind of been raised in a perception of, it's just get out there and do business and make as much money as you possibly can. And Dave really, and I always felt a little dirty about that. And Dave said, look, what you want to do is be as generous as you can. Look for a way to be generous with people. And when you have that generosity, the good things will come to you, whatever they are, whether they're money or other things. And so I switched it. I said, okay, I came back to my team and I said, look, we're going to be about generosity. We're going to give more than we take. We're going to, we're trying to be better than what we have been, try to give more to people. So look for ways to be generous. And don't give up when things get hard. When your muscles are hurting, that's when you got to keep going, right? And that's same true for your brain, same true for your business, for your art career, whatever it is. Don't give up when it gets hard. It may, giving up is you're just going to feel badly about yourself. You're not going to hit your goal, but if you keep going, you're going to hit it. No matter what, you just keep going, you're going to hit it. Now, the other thing is avoid negative people. Ooh, this lady's scary. Avoid negativity. I have had over the years, I love a lot of my friends, but I don't want to spend time with them. Some of them I grew up with, and I have great feelings about them because we spent a lot of time together. but I had to write them out of my life. It doesn't mean I called them up and said, you're out of my life. I didn't do anything. I just kind of stopped spending time with them, because you become the average of the 5 people you spend time with. And if you're around negative people, they're going to bring you down. They're going to tell you all the reasons you're going to fail. They're going to tell you all the reasons your ideas are stupid. Avoid negative people. You will see a big difference. And to that point, the opposite slide of this should be surround yourself with people who are successful that you want to emulate. You know, if you want to emulate a top artist, surround yourself with top artists. If you want to emulate a top business person, surround yourself with top business people. You can do this. Also, take risks. Now, I'm a believer that you want to take calculated risk. You want to make sure that you don't put your life on the line. You don't want to make sure that you put your entire savings account on the line, but people do it. Elon Musk did it. He took his billions and put it at risk. But you got to take chances, and you don't get anywhere until you take chances. I didn't want to take the risk of doing Plein Air Live because I knew it was going to cost me a huge amount of money. I knew that it might not work, and I knew that if I spent that money, I was going to be in a deeper hole than I was already in. But I took the risk because I really believed in it, and it turned out okay. And so you've got to take chances. Got to take chances. Go after what you want, no matter what's in the way. Don't tell yourself, I can't do it because. Because is a cop-out word, right? So, you know, you can climb that mountain. You can do anything you want to do. You can do, nothing is going to get in your way if you believe in it, all right? Now, the other thing I do is I like to pick 3 things to work on, and I do number 1 until it's done. Then I do number 2, and then I do number 3. If you do that every day, you'll get things done. People always ask me, how do you get so much done? It's because of this. I pick 3 things. I work on 1. I crush it. Then I move to the next one. I crush it. Then I move to the next one. Sometimes I don't get through number 1 in a day, but I keep working on number 1. The things that kill our productivity are distractions. The only things you should be working on are things that matter. Remember gratuity at bedtime at prayer too. I always, at bedtime, I tell myself, I close my eyes, I say my prayers, I say 3 things that I'm grateful for from the day. Somebody I met with, something I learned, something my kids said, something, you know, a moment with my kids. I always ask myself, what can I be grateful for at bedtime? Smile a lot. People will wonder what you're up to, and do something fun every single day. Remember that you're on earth to have fun. Your habits will determine your success. I said another word I shouldn't have said. All right. That's all we got for today. I want to remind everybody that Plein Air Live took place last week. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? A week and a half ago. Plein Air Live took place, and we had a record number of people on, and at Plein Air Live, 600 people signed up for the new event, which is Realism Live, and that's going to take place in October. Now, realism is a type of painting, right? So this is not realism, that's abstract art. Realism is this, or this, or this, or this. And we're going to be teaching all the different disciplines. So we'll be teaching, well, first off, we're working on our faculty, but we've already got the world-renowned artist, Daniel Sprick, world-renowned artist, Joshua LaRock, Rose Franson, also world-renowned, just came out with a new video. It's already becoming one of our biggest sellers. And we have Graydon Parrish, so also world-renowned. So, and we have more and more to announce, but you're going to be learning how to paint the figure and draw the figure. You're going to be learning how to paint the portrait. You're going to be learning about still life. You're going to be learning about landscape. You're going to be learning about florals. You're going to learn about a lot of different stuff. And that's at Realism Live. We think it's going to be the largest art virtual conference in the world. We already have 600 people signed up. We think it's going to be huge, and we'd like you to join us on that. And you go to realismlive.com. Anyway, reminder today, we've got Johnny Lilladall, 3 p.m., and drawing one for painters, and this is about landscapes. And reminder that you can win a prize by leaving a comment. Thank you for your time today. I know I ran a little long. I hope this is helpful. And I hope if you're watching on YouTube, you'll hit the subscribe button. If you're watching anywhere else, I hope you'll follow us. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. I'd like to get my numbers up, and I'd love to have you as a follower. So it's Eric Rhoads. Let's see if I can find something that has my information on there. There, Eric Rhoads, ERICRHOADS. There's an A in there and no E. So follow me if you would. That'd be really terrific. And tune in every day at 12 noon. Thanks for your time. God bless you. Have a really terrific day. Goodbye.